Hello my angry nerds, this is Fanboy and welcome to your daily dose of Starcraft 2 Legacy of the Void edition. This is also a ladder edition. Let me introduce the players to you. On Terraform you have Fortytwo. He is our red Zerg player and he's spawning up in the top left hand corner of Terraform. And in the bottom right hand corner of Terraform you have CranK. And he is also a Zerg, but he is blue. This is a ZVZ, as you can see. Will we see mirror builds, or do we see more greed out of one player or the other? Right now, it looks like more of a mirror build. It's, what, a 5, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15... well, I mean, it's probably a 15 or 16 pool or hatch into gas, I would assume, for both players. CranK already has his gas on its way. Fortytwo just started his and is looking to drop down a spawning pool right after it. CranK does the same thing, but his gas will be a lot quicker than Fortytwo's. So he'll have that little bit more gas in the bank than his opponent. Both gases are up, but Fortytwo is mining from it, and so is CranK. CranK has 3 drones on gas, so does Fortytwo, it looks like. Hatches are about to pop for both players, and a good, maybe 10 seconds. But will we just see a Roach Ling play or Ling Baleen play? That's one thing about ZVZ, is it can go very quickly or it can drag out forever. Will that be the case for this game? We don't know. Speed is on for both players, but here's the difference in this build. CranK is only building 2 Lings, while Fortytwo is building for 2 sets of 2. There comes the first set, and it looks like CranK is just sending his first 2 Lings out to scout, and both players will meet in the middle. One hit for, oh wow, both those Lings are in the orange. Right now it looks like Fortytwo wants to do a little bit of aggression, possibly a little bit of scouting. CranK also wants to do the exact same thing, and it looks like he's going to try to save this Ling in the corner just for an extra bit of scouting, but it's gonna lead this queen right to that. Oh, maybe not. Wow, these Lings are staying around forever. What about Fortytwo's Lings? Did they all die? I would assume so, yes. And it looks like CranK is wanting to take at least 3 of his gases, while Fortytwo decides to throw down a 3rd hatchery. And 2 evolution chambers. Not a bad idea. One of those Lings is still alive in Fortytwo's base. Sees pretty much everything that's going on. That's very critical scouting. He probably does not know of the 3rd quite yet, but it looks like CranK wants to do something heavy gassed, and look at that, he does have a Spire on the way. It just got started about probably 10 seconds ago, 10-15 seconds ago. So it's gonna look like he's gonna transition from Ling to air, and it's going to be Ling, mostly Muta play, most likely. Oh, that's a lot of Lings for Fortytwo, and CranK's Lings right now are caught out in a bad place. And will Fortytwo be able to pick up this queen? And that's a definite. Will he be able to pick up any drones? It doesn't look like it. He picked up 1, it looks like. So we'll see about that. Lings are going to probably come out and look at the third, just make sure there is a third. If not, then they do see the roaches pop. So it wasn't a double Evo chamber. It was a roach warrant and a Evo chamber. It looks like Fortytwo is going more for a standard build. It's going to be Roach Ling. But it does not counter at all what CranK is doing. CranK is doing air. He has 5 mutas on the way. +1 attack, it looks like, is being researched. What will this lead into? I don't know. But I mean, 5 mutas can do a hell of a lot of damage. There are spores already in pretty much every mineral line. There is an infestation pit, if I can speak, an infestation pit on the way. That could be for a lot of things. I'm thinking it's going to be for probably infestors, most likely, because if you can catch that mutable and chain fungal it, it will hurt CranK so badly it won't be funny. He could possibly pick up this queen, but I don't think he's going to try. There is a bunch of lings down in the bottom part of the map doing I don't know what. That's a lot of mutas. I mean, that's quite a few mutas. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 mutas. And they could do quite a bit of damage. Meanwhile, back at home, there is... Yeah, I knew it. Fortytwo is going to go for infestors because he has the good old pathogen glands researching. And it looks like +1 attack, where that's coming from. Ling run by, major Ling run by. Will CranK be able to get anything done? He is kind of held up on that little corner. I mean, any type of damage he can do would be greatly appreciated. Meanwhile, Crank's mutas are trying to do as much damage as humanly possible. How many drones did they all pick up? They picked up 6. I mean, that's not terrible. CranK is, I think, also... Yeah, he is also leading in workers. Yep. And here comes a major attack by all these mutas. Some of them are getting chain fungal, not a ton of them. There are 15 roaches about to pop from this guy, but these mutas have to be very... Ooh, that's a lot of mutas that have just been chain fungal. Most of all of them have been chain fungal, but there's massive healing going down on these queens. Will they be able to get all or some of the mutas? And I just don't think that would be a yes. A lot of them are in the red or yellow, or even in the orange, but it just doesn't seem like a lot of them will die. There is a bunch of lings trying to harass all these roaches, and it looks like Fortytwo is on the back foot, and it looks like he's going to just go for it and try to do a base race. Right now, that's kind of hard because CranK is already up to his 4th base, and it looks like Fortytwo pretty much lost his 3rd. But that is quite a few roaches. There's not a lot back home. There's just a couple lings. Can they buy enough time to where these mutas can get home? And yes, but will he be able to save that hatchery? I don't know if that's actually possible. There are 30 lings in production. Is he gonna go? Yes, he is. He has a greater spire on the way, and it looks like he's gonna go for oh, what are they called? Broodlords. Bleh. Broodlings, broodlords. They spit out broodlings. But there's 4 already. I think there's another 3 on the way. There. That's a lot of broodlords. That's quite a few broodlords. And yes, he could easily make quite a few of them. And he turns most of them outside of 2 into broodlords. And it looks like Crank's just wanting to spread the time to where he can attack with this Broodlord. But you don't want to get close to spores with with anything that flies, because they are extremely effective. It looks like Fortytwo is trying to establish a third, but he has no idea Broodlords are on the way. I don't think he ever scouted it. And the Broodlord pack is moving out. The only real danger to these Broodlords are all of these infestors. They have a lot of energy. They can fungal growth them, or they can... Yeah, that's what I thought. They are going to spit out infest Terrans. And here comes the Roach Queen army. They need to focus down the mutas, and they just don't. I think this is going to be GG. One Broodling does die. One Broodlord does die. Two Broodlords die. But yeah, this is GG. GG is called by Fortytwo, and that is game for the most part. Someone's still left in here. I don't know who. I think it's CranK. CranK just is busy doing something else, I would assume. And CranK leaves the game. And CranK pulls out a victory on a ZVZ. He does play... CranK does play random on ladder and on stream to get his proficiency up. He does play for Axiom Esports, as you probably are well aware, is owned by Total Biscuit. Good guy, friendly guy, at least as long as he's in the right mood and you don't disturb him while he's working. I don't know this by personal experience, but what I've heard, that's the case. But all around good guy. He does own a esports team, but I mean, it was a good game. I mean, CranK pretty much just outmaneuvered, out-tricked. He went for air and then went for Broodlords behind it. You don't see a lot of times, you don't see players, Zerg players, go for Broodlords. They're extremely vulnerable. They move very slowly. But CranK made it work and got a win out of it. And what it looks like he did was he went for Ling first, and then for Mutalisks behind it, and then for Broodlords. So he had a composition of Ling, Muta, Broodlord. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, please subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And I will see you guys in the next game.